Hi everybody, welcome to your Everyday Math lesson 5.7. So today we're going to do something a little bit different. Today we're going to talk a little bit about doing fractions, and we've been working with fraction of problems. But today we're going to do fraction of fraction problems. So this problem, if you were in person and if you were in a regular classroom setting, we would actually use paper and we would do a paper folding method. Paper folding is fun and it's entertaining and it's kind of, I enjoy doing it with my kiddos, but unfortunately you guys are home and you might not necessarily be able to follow along as much. So I'm going to show you what the paper folding looks like. I'm going to show you what you would do if you were in person. And then I'm also going to show you how we're going to do it in your math workbook. Okay, so we're going to start with just a regular piece of regular plain notebook paper. All right, so what I did is I just have a regular piece of regular notebook paper here, and I'm going to fold it a couple of different ways. And I'm actually going to use my green paper to kind of show you. So it's just a normal piece of notebook paper, just so you can see here. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it in half. I'm going to make sure that my crease is there so you can see my crease. And I'm actually going to color one side of this pink, just so it's a little bit more visual. Okay. Here's one half. Agreed. That's one half of my paper. I'm going to hold it here so you can see it by my face. I have half of it colored, right? Now I'm going to take my half and I'm going to fold it in half the opposite direction. So what I'm going to find now is half of a half. Okay, I folded it in the opposite direction. And now I'm going to take one of these pieces and I'm going to color in half, going with a different color. And again, I'm going kind of quick, so just bear with me. I'm going quick so you can see kind of what I'm doing. Okay. If you want to do this along with me, go for it. You can pause the video so you can do it along with me. Now, looking at my paper, you can see that there are 4 sections. There's a section that's completely blank, a section that's just pink, a section that's just green, and a section that's double shaded. That means that if I want to find half of a half, that means the part right here that's double shaded, this double shaded part right here, is the part that I'm looking at. So looking at a fraction, when you're doing fraction of fraction problems, my answer is going to get smaller because it's a fraction. Okay? So when I look at this problem, 1/2 of 1/2, how many pieces are double shaded for here? How many pieces are double shaded? Well, 1. How many pieces are there total on my page? 4. So my fraction, 1/2 of 1/2, would be 1/4. Now, disclaimer, there are easier ways to do fraction of fraction problems. I'm going to show you those easier ways throughout the lesson today and later on in the lesson. But for right now, just try to stick with me. Sometimes seeing things and being visual with it is a little bit easier for people. Okay, so stick with me on this lesson. We're going to do the fraction of here. So it says, think of rectangles below as sheets of paper. Draw the fold lines and then shade to show how you found 1/3 of 1/2 and 2/3 of 1/2. So the first thing that you're going to do, and I'm going to use my pink piece of paper here first, and I'm going to kind of fold it into thirds. And it doesn't have to be exactly perfect, but it's close. It's close, right? Close enough. So see my fold lines? That's how I cut it into thirds. So that's the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to cut your paper, or not cut it, but you're going to draw your lines to show me that you're folding your paper into thirds. For my first problem, we're going to shade 1/3. I don't care which one you do. I always tend to do this one just because it's easier to start from the left. So this one right here, this is my 1/3, and I'm going to color it in blue. By the way, it might be easier if you have two different colored crayons, maybe a pen and a pencil, two different colored markers, just so you can see the difference when you're shading. Okay? So I colored it in a light blue color. Now I'm going to take my paper and I'm going to fold it in half. So I'm going to fold my paper this way in half. Notice where the halfway mark is, the halfway line. It goes across, right? So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do that with my, let's use my red. And I'm going to shade half of it red now. Notice that there is one little section right here that is double shaded with red and blue. So my numerator will be 1 because one of them is double shaded. How many total pieces do I have? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1/2 times 1/3 is 1/6. All right, same thing here. This time I'm going to cut it in thirds this way, because why not? And this time I'm going to shade 2/3, and I'm going to do this in red this time. 1/3, 2/3. Then I'm going to cut it in half, and I'm going to shade 1/2. A little darker blue, but it still works. My pens are dying on me. Can you tell I like using the blue pens? Okay, so let's use this one. There we go. So if I cut it in half here. How many pieces do you see are double shaded? How many pieces are double shaded? Your answer should be a fraction. Looking at this one, I see 1, 2 pieces are double shaded, and there are 6 pieces total. So my answer for that one would be 2/6. Awesome. Now let's try to do the next one. It says Carolyn had 1/3 of a liter of water. She drank 3/4 of that water. What part of the liter did she drink? So I'm going to start by cutting my paper and drawing the lines in my paper into thirds. Okay, so I'm going to draw it into thirds, and I'm going to go this way just because I can. It doesn't matter which way you do first. Okay, so here are my thirds, and I'm going to shade 1/3 of it blue. Okay, also notice over here, we're going to do the same kind of thing. 1/3. That's the same number in both. I'm going to work ahead. I know. I'm going rogue. I'm going rogue. It's okay. So this one I showed you 1/3, and now I'm going to fold it into fourths. Do you agree that there are now four pieces going this way? Great. And I'm going to shade 1/4. How many pieces are double shaded? Again, this should be a fraction. If you said 1/12, you are correct. There is 1 piece double shaded, and there are 12 total pieces. Now let's do the same thing over here. I'm going to cut it into fourths. Only this time, I'm going to shade 3/4. 1, 2, 3. Looking at this picture now, how many of those pieces are double shaded? Again, it should be a fraction. There are 3 total pieces double shaded, and there are 12 total. So how much of a liter of water did Carolyn drink? 3/12 of a liter. Awesome. That's how you're going to do the double shading. Now, there is another whole page of practice with the double shading. We are going to do a couple of them for you. If you would like to use a piece of paper, absolutely. But we are going to do some of them together, and I'm going to go kind of quick. Okay, the reason why I'm going to go through them kind of quick is because I'm going to show you another way. I'm going to show you a different way of how to multiply fractions, and it's going to make it so much easier. All right, here we go. 1/2 of 1/4. Okay, 1/2 of 1/4. How many are double shaded there? What is 1/2 of 1/4? Your answer should have been 1/8. Because 1 is double shaded, there are 8 total pieces. Okay, I'm going to split it into thirds. And then I'm going to split it into thirds this way. What is 1/3 of 2/3? There are 2 pieces double shaded, and there are 9 pieces total. Your answer for that one should be 2/9. 2/3 of 1/4. I want you to try to either fold your paper or shade it on your own. See if you could find the answer to this question. What is 2/3 of 1/4? All right, cutting it into thirds. And I'm going to shade 2/3. Cutting it into fourths. And I'm going to shade 1/4. There are 2 pieces double shaded, and there are 12 total pieces. So that answer should be 2/12. And lastly, this last problem, 5/6 of 3/4. I want you to shade it on your own, do the math, and see if you can find your answer. All right, here we go. I'm going to cut this into 6ths. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/6. 3/4. I'm going to cut it into fourths. 1, 2, 3. How many pieces are double shaded? So when I'm looking at my double shaded pieces, I'm looking at these pieces right here. How many pieces are double shaded? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. How many total pieces are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Now, technically we're done with this page, and we're kind of done a little bit with the lesson. But this is where Miss Gilman's tricks, this is where my hints and my helpful things pop in. All right? When you're multiplying fractions, the easiest thing to do is multiply straight across. When we're getting into bigger numbers, like we just did with 5/6 and 3/4, sitting there counting 24 little pieces isn't always the best idea. Okay? Making sure that you shaded perfectly isn't always the best idea. So I'm going to show you a little bit of a trick. Okay? So first, the first trick I'm going to show you has to do with just in general multiplying fractions. So if I do 6/7 times 8/10, do I really want to sit there and draw 70 squares and cut my paper and fold it that many times and make sure it's perfect and count? No. So one of the things that you need to do literally is you just multiply straight across. 6 times 8 is 48. 7 times 10 is 70. So if I were to take this last piece of blue paper that I have right here and fold it into tenths and fold the other way into sevenths, I would have 48 70ths that were double folded. A lot of work, right? Using just the multiplication can be so much easier. Literally, when you're doing fraction of problems, just multiply straight across. Now, you will be asked on your unit assessment to shade. You will be asked to show how to shade different things. And actually, our lesson 5.8 is also still shading fraction of problems. Okay, so there are other helpful hints that we're going to learn as the unit goes on, but I'm going to give you just a couple practice, just basic multiplication fractions, just to see if you can find the answer. Are you ready? Let's do 7 over 8 times 1/2. What is 7/8 of 1/2? 7 times 1 is 7. 8 times 2 is 16. Done. See how quick that was? Now, there are other steps later on. For right now, this will get you where you need to be. All right, let's do 4/6 times 2/5. What is 4/6 times 2/5? All right, here we go. 4 times 2 equals 8. 6 times 5 equals 30. Done. Boom. As Lincoln says right now, boom shakalaka. I don't know where he got that from. Anyway, so this is how you do these problems. As we go through the rest of this unit, as we work a little bit more with multiplying fractions, it is very, very important that you understand why we do the steps that we do. We showed you paper folding first. We showed you this way to help you understand that when you multiply a fraction by another fraction, my number is going to get smaller, right? What we're doing later this unit is all still helping you get ready to continue to make multiplying fractions and working with fractions easier. All right? I hope that you guys have a great rest of the day. Enjoy the lesson. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Don't forget to go to my YouTube page and like and subscribe. I'm at 92 subscribers. I want to get to 100 at least. Who can hook me up? Let's see what happens when we get to 100. Bye, guys.